Give me. Jeff?
Okay,
Okay, welcome everyone. Call the meeting to order. A roll call, please.
oh, I'm sorry. Trustee Early,
Yep.
Trustee Foley,
Yes.
Trustee Murphy,
Here.
Trustee Woods,
Here.
Mayor Morandi.
Here. Thank you. Okay, well, this is Marie's and Fran and I's last monthly meeting. I did start writing a long thank you to everyone, which I'll spare you all for now. I will thank people as we go along here. And Jeff, I'd like to, especially thank you for being a great friend and dealing with all the nonsense down at Village Hall that no one sees. And I always rely on you and your opinions have been incredibly helpful to me. You've filled in a lot of spaces. Whenever we need something, you've picked it up from building inspector and working with them and taking in everything that's included in the building department. And everything's been done just really professionally. And I'm pretty amazed and grateful you joined the team a long time ago. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll start off with financial update. Before we get into that, I want to thank Michelle. Also just an incredible hire that we had. When I first took over, everything was kind of in disarray and we really had to hustle and find things and people and who knew what was going on. When we were in need of a treasurer and going out there for the search, I had no idea we'd find someone as qualified as Michelle. She's an incredible person. I'm glad all the planets aligned for this one and that she was looking for a part-time job at this time and the location worked for her and everything. Michelle, you've been great. Having confidence in someone in this position and there's never a doubt that Michelle's doing the right thing, never. She keeps me on the straight and narrow, and I'm sure she will the future administrations, and that's a really good thing. She's a by the book person, and that's what you want. So, Michelle, thank you so much. You've been great. Thank you.
Thank you.
And so we'll go into the financial update now. Thanks.
Okay. So we have a small financial update today, and then next month will be a 6 month past, 6 month future to go over some things that happened this month. A bulletproof partnership vest with the Federal Department of Justice. Larry and I applied for that grant. We do it periodically. It's a 50% grant for new hires or officers that are on a replacement cycle with their vests. So Larry had requested 4 vests and we were approved in full for the 50% for 4 vests. They have been ordered, received. I'm just waiting to submit the paperwork. And then this comes out usually every year. So if we have, some more new hires or turnover, same thing, we can apply again. So that total is up to 1574 village funding, and then we match it the other 50%. The consolidated grant application that we applied for the water meters, that is still pending. I did some more digging. It looks like a couple years ago, the awards didn't come out till December, even though they said maybe the fall. So we got quite a few months before we hear from them, but there is no definitive date for that. It's just going by what I saw from the past. Marie and I have been working to close out as best we can the NYSERDA grant and the Greenway grant up until where the code update committee is at this point in time. So she sent me a bunch of documents. We've been going back and forth. So I think that, in the next couple of weeks, we'll be able to get another NYSERDA reimbursement in, and then that should have us caught up to where all the code update work has been done so far. For vehicles on order, we ordered a dump truck and a police explorer. Gabrielli, after much follow-up, has now said that the truck won't start to be built until the first quarter of 2022, at best case January, but they can't guarantee that. But they're pushing for January, and then it's a couple weeks to be built, and then a couple weeks for the dump body. So you're not looking at a truck, a brand new truck that's on order anytime before April 1st. And the Police Explorer, that actually has a date to be built, and that's the second week of December. So that's a little more definitive, but that still takes a couple weeks to get built, and then a couple weeks to go to the upfitter. AFLAC, every November, it's a benefit that the village offers to its employees, open enrollments in November. So I'm working with our rep Janelle to find time to come to Village Hall, so that if anybody wants to make changes or sign up, that they can in November. Then overall, for revenues and expenses, again, we're on track. The only account that I really noticed was the village-wide equipment and vehicle. Nothing's over budget yet, but some of the highway equipment, the budget's pretty close to being spent. There's savings in other places, so I think we'll be fine and be able to keep repairing equipment as we needed. The backhoe was very expensive this year. But other than that, most accounts for being halfway through the year are pretty in line. And then, like I said, next month I'll have a pretty detailed 6-month projection and 6-month past, spreadsheets and everything like that. Does anybody have any questions?
I'm good.
Has the insurance adjuster come regarding the vehicle, the police vehicle that was involved in the accident?
I'm not sure. Larry or Jeff, do you know?
They did come. Larry told me they came, but we still haven't heard back on what the level of damage is and what's going to be covered amounts.
Thanks.
Thank you, Michelle.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Michelle.
I'll check in before we're over.
Okay, Bugsy online?
Yeah, I'm here.
How are you, Bugs?
Well, thank you. How are you?
Good, good. Before you get started, I think, I just wanted to thank you also. I think one of my failures was not getting everything organized at the highway department to make life easier for you. I mean, we've gone through so many, some different crew chiefs and then so many employees. And so I know it's not been easy for you. And, thank you for all your time on that. The garbage truck, the RFP is out. It's due the 19th. That I won't be able to finalize anything there, but maybe that'll finally give the highway crew some breathing room and time to do what they're actually, should be doing. But thank you so much for all your time and making it through where we are right now. I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so let's see. For the month of October, we had 48.9 tons of recycling. We had 23.6 tons of, 23.6 recycling, 49.8 of garbage. October, we had 2 brush collections. We were trimming limbs. We worked with the wastewater department to install a new manhole and risers at the intersection of Parrot and Pine. We also assisted the rec department in removal of quite a bit of brush down at Mayor's Park. They did a really nice job down there. As far as mechanics, we had to install a hydraulic line on the outrigger of the backhoe. And we also had to put in 2 transmission lines on the 2016 F-350 dump truck. And other than that, that's about it.
Okay. I think we just have 1 vehicle that hasn't been picked up, or is there 2 from the auction?
The yellow dump truck, the Salter, has not been picked up yet. I spoke from the guy. He's stuck in Haiti with COVID. So he says it's going to be at least about a week and a half from now. I spoke to him about 4 days ago. He promised me he will come and get it. And the only other thing is the brine system, which has to be, it's being picked up tomorrow. The red truck is Sal Padala's and he will be picking it up. I'm just not sure when. Everything else is gone though.
Nice.
Great, thank you.
Nice.
Oh, Bugsy, the rear wheels on the International, can they be used on any other vehicles? They look fairly new.
The tires, I'll have to check size. If they would fit anything, they might fit the rears of the 2001 International.
Okay. I was just down there today, looked like they were pretty good shape, so.
Yeah, they're fairly new.
Okay, thank you. Have a good evening.
Dave,
And you as
and
well.
Bugsy,
Sorry.
we got
Yes.
an email, we got an email today from the auction house. The high bidder for the 87 GMC Sierra has not made payment and have been unresponsive, so they want to know if we want them to go to the next highest bidder or relist it.
Yeah, I got back in touch with them and told them to go with the next highest.
Okay,
Was only 100 different, but that person wasn't interested in the next lowest is another 100. So I told him to go ahead with that also.
Right.
So I'm not sure if what happens after that. I guess it's ours if the third person doesn't take it. But yeah, I responded to that. Okay, anything for Bugsy from anyone? Sorry.
Thanks, Bugsy.
Thank you, folks. I enjoyed working with you.
Thanks, Bugsy.
You too.
Okay, before we get into, okay, we're at water and wastewater. Before we go there, go back in time a bit and, you know, I'm sure Greg's not watching this tonight. Hopefully he has better things to do. But Greg Phillips was, held strong in the department and the water department for a long time. And also after being there for 30 years, left us during my time here, and we had to fill that position again, not feeling too confident on what we were going to get, or having someone as reliable as Greg was. So first, I'd like to thank Greg for all the time and work he put into that. I know he took a lot of pride in it, and give 100% all the time. So wherever you are, Greg, thank you. And then I want to thank Matt, who again, another great hire that I couldn't be happier with. It was just one of those positions. Who's out there that does this? It's going to want to come to a small village, and luckily Matt was available. And again, planets are all aligned, and I'm really glad that you decided to come to the village, Matt. And I have total confidence you, and feel as confident as you as I did in Greg, and you're doing a great job. So thank you so much. It's been a short time working with you, but a total pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you as well. Kind words and the opportunity. All right. So yeah, for the past month, we're in better standing at the reservoirs, almost 10% increase from where we were last year. The usage to the system is again decreased from this time last year. The bacteriological tests all came back in good standing. We had an issue with the pH chemical control system up at the water plant on Thursday, the 28th, where the controllers went down. We were able to secure, from what I was told, the last one inside the country that wasn't sitting off in a boat. So that was good that we got that back up and running the following day, Friday, the 29th. Catskill DEP project. Anthony Vaccaro kind of called me out of the blue on that Friday, the 29th, invited us down to look at what has been done. Really wasn't much to see except for a meter pit with a valve handle sticking out, but they do have the work done and a dead end blind flange piping readily available for the potential future connection by the village if everything gets approved and moving forward. So that was good, but still kind of in the same position that we were in. HAB, harmful algae bloom protocol, working with the Putnam County Health Department for a SOP for that moving forward for next summer, or when the blooms should occur again. The Badger endpoint upgrade, even though we ordered them in June of this year, the microchip shortage is setting everything back. I spoke to Badger and they said that production of the endpoints isn't currently slated until December of 2021, leaving the receivable date to be determined. So we'll keep in contact with them, see if we can get a better date out of that. Filtration unit rehab, still working with West Tech, trying to itemize that quote. Moving on to the wastewater, everything was good there. 24,000 gallons sludge hauled out. We still have the issue of Fair Street sewer leak that needs to get repaired, but on a better note, the leak that we thought we had on the sewer plant grounds, further troubleshot, and it was confirmed that it had to be standing rainwater from a previous rain event, as we tested it with 60 PSI water and didn't have any leaks. So we started using the recycled effluent water for hosing down tanks on the grounds, as not using the distribution supply. And we still have to schedule the E2, but hopefully the E2 I&I inspections. So hopefully I'll get on top of that shortly. And that's about all I got.
Anything from the board, from Matt?
Thanks to Matt for all he's done.
Matt, thank you very much.
Well, likewise, it's been a pleasure working. Yeah.
Thanks, yeah.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Yeah.
Next up, before we get into the police report, just want to definitely give a huge shout out to Larry. Not too long into my terms, I was trying to get Larry to be our officer in charge, and for reasons he, declined, and then I kind of kept at him a bit, and finally he relented. So Larry's been great. I know he takes great pride in his job. He's like a small town, although he's come from New York City Police Department, he's definitely has the what you want in a small town policeman. He's on the streets. He's friendly with people. He knows how to deal with things. And, he's really, I think, turned, most people won't see it, but really he's turned the department around a bit, and like I said, most people won't see that, but I do. I know kind of what was going on and stuff, when I was first elected, and Larry kind of changed the whole atmosphere, spruced up the whole second floor, making it something people can have pride in working in. And so Larry, you've done a great job. I'm glad you finally gave in. Hopefully you can hang in there for a while longer. I definitely appreciate it. I think you're the man for the job, and you've done a great job. Thanks.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the vote of confidence. I couldn't do it without the support of the entire board, and I thank you very much for myself and my officers, who I believe feel the same way. And we are very grateful for the support we have from the village board, and going forward to keep serving the village as best we can. Okay, I'll give the quick monthly report. Calls for service we had were 59 for the month of October. That brings the year to date to 591. We had no arrests for that month. We had a number of 28 moving violation summonses. We had 78 actually I have to update that. It was, I believe, 84 parking summonses. So we have a total summonses for the month for 106, and for the year 677. The boats have come in. I've had no complaints. Anything bigger than what we normally have. It seems everything's been working out. We've had pretty much the walk-in tour on at least one or both of the days on the weekend, and that has been working out. And that's really all I have. Besides the Halloween night, we had the parade finally that we didn't have last year, and everything seemed to work smoothly with the parade, and that was definitely a welcome sight to see again back in the village. And also the trick-or-treating on Parrot, Parsonage, Pine, and Bank. It looked like everybody went all out on their decorating of their homes. It seemed that everybody had a really good time. We had a little bit more activity with shaving cream. And we'll look in the future to try to curtail that a little bit. But other than that, there was nothing major. It seemed that everybody had a really good time.
Okay, anything for Larry?
Larry, thank you so much.
Thank you, Larry. It's been a pleasure.
The Okay, next up is Rec Commission. I again need to thank well the whole Rec Commission, all the members. John Moranti and Steve Ed have been there since the beginning of the village, back that far. And it's really good to have locals and people with a little legacy on the boards. It's really helpful. And so thank you to you guys for sticking out for so long. Ruth Ann was another person, a great appointment, I think. And really, I don't know, it gave the Rec Commission a little bit more cred, and they really upped their game, I think. You know, you can see it from what they've been involved with in trying to, you know, draft policy and, you know, take control of, you know, the different events we have. And they work very hard. So Ruth Ann, you've done a great job, and it was a pleasure working with you. I'm not sure, is Ruth Ann not on tonight, or?
He is not.
Oh, she's not. Okay. So do we have a rep from the rec department?
Jeff Amato.
Jeff, sorry, forgot. So welcome, Jeff. I guess this is your first meeting, so you can take it away. I'm glad you stepped up. I appreciate it, and I know you're going to do a great job. So thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. So for the Rec Commission, we had no new applications for events. We did have 2 events this month, 2 weddings down at the bandstand. And then in terms of at each of the facilities, we had a cleanup down at the pavilion, which Bugsy had mentioned previously. He had helped take care removal of the brush after we had cleaned up following meeting with the tree committee. Brush along the north end of the pavilion along the water. So we did that work. We did make some repairs. There was some damage done, but we did meet with the police department, the village police, to go over that. But there was some damage done to the locks into the pavilion storage area and bathrooms, which we made repairs to and documented that. We at McConville Park, we continued the plantings and continued watering the plants there, and we are working with a Boy Scout towards the Eagle Scout project to provide signage there for the 9/11 memorial. So we're working on preliminary designs there, which we'll present to the Board of Trustees for approval before moving forward with any permanent signage. And then again at the bandstand, we will have the tree lighting and decorations. The date for that has yet to be determined. We have some. We've ordered some more lighting, and so we'll be putting that up in the next coming weeks following this weekend's wedding. There's a wedding on the 14th, and then we'll decorate and have a tree lighting sometime in the next coming weeks. Other than that, we're still working to update the both the ticketing and non-ticketed event applications. So I know that the board had a few more revisions to that. So we will be making those revisions. Any suggestions, and if there's any other revisions to that, we can make that and hope to finalize the applications for those events as well. And that's I think that's pretty much it for Rec Commission.
Okay. We Jeff, we did receive the event coordinator job description. We got it late today, so we'll review that and we'll be back in touch on that. But we did receive that a little late today, or else we could comment on it. I read through it. I think it looks fine. Maybe a few little tweaks that I would put in there, but thanks for your work on that, and we will follow up with you on that.
Great, thank you.
Thanks very much, Jeff.
Thank you, Jeff.
Jeff, what's the best way to get comments from you to you on the documents you submitted? I've marked them up on the paper copy. Leave them in your box?
Yes, if you have paper copy markups. Yeah, Maria already has left some in the box, so yeah, please do that, and I'll be sure to incorporate any changes.
Thanks.
Scrolling. Okay, is Bobby on?
Yeah, I'm here, Dave.
Hi, Bob. Bob,
Hey, Dave, how you doing?
thank you for being the liaison and taking the time every month to meet with us. It's I appreciate it, and thank you for your time.
Hey, it was my pleasure, Dave. It was my pleasure to be a liaison for the last 6 years. I greatly appreciate it, and I enjoyed coming to your meetings and reporting everything from the town from the town of Phillipstown to you. And so it was I enjoyed it, and hopefully we'll continue to do the same. I'd like to apologize for missing last month's meeting. It was my 36th wedding anniversary. My wife wouldn't appreciate it too much. I was at the wedding, at the meeting, so apologize for missing. First of all, I think Dave and Marie and Fran, I didn't realize this was your last meeting. I thought you guys went to till January, but obviously I'm wrong. But it was, you did a great job in the village. Looking forward to working with new people as well. But, it's not an easy position for anyone, as everyone knows. It's got to give a lot of credit for everything you've done over the last several years. So thank you very much for all your service as well. Okay, like I said,
Thanks very much, Bob.
Thank you, Bob.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. I'd like to congratulate all the candidates that had won over the election day, and I'd also like to thank all the candidates that ran for these positions. It's like I said, it's sometimes it's a very thankless job, but it's not an easy thing to do. Go out there, put your name out there, your family out there in front of everybody, and it's not, it's rewarding, but then again, sometimes it could be other days it may not be. So you got to take the good with the bad, right? So that's the way it is. So. I'd like to also thank all the veterans. Veterans Day is coming up on this Thursday, so thank you for all your veterans out there and for your services. A couple things that I want to report: the footings we dug are informed and everything, but we got a little bit delayed on the new building up there at the highway department. We ran into a lot more rock than we anticipated, and we had a change order for $17,675 for that. So that's been moving forward, but the building is still supposed to be delivered in the April timeframe for the steel. We passed a resolution opting out of the state cannabis retail sale and on-site consumption. What was the vote down there in the village for those two proposals they had out there?
I think it's
Hasn't been resolved yet, waiting for the absentee ballots.
Is it that close?
Yeah.
You're really, wow. Okay. Like I said, we had a couple public hearings on this as well, and it was about 50-50 to be honest with you. But we felt at this particular time it was the right thing to do for us to opt out. But again, that could change. If people will get more support for it, or a lot more people want to come up, we could put it up for an adoption as well. We'll see what happens. We passed several resolutions: Upland Drive, Ridge Road, down in Continental Village. We've had a lot of issues down there with people developing land. There's also 70 open vacant lots that are owned by the county over there. So we're hoping that this will help the people down here in Continental Village, because they just can't get overpopulated down here, especially with all the steep slopes. And these are all private roads down here. A lot of these Ridge Road and they're all private roads. So it's just, if you've ever been down there, the roads are pretty bad. And we're just trying to help out the community down here by putting these resolutions in place. The Garrison Water District, as I've been reporting on over the last several months, the Garrison Landing, we provide water to 29 homes down there. And as of right now, we've been having a lot of difficulties over the last several years. I just had a meeting earlier this week, and we should be getting all the permits and everything to drill a new test well up into the golf course area. Hopefully that's going to work out, and we'll take it from there. It's going to probably take a few more months after we get the well It all depends on how many gallons a minute we get. If we get a significant amount of water, we may just shut it down. We'll see what happens. As you know, we're in budget season. Our budget is we're still under 2% cap at 11,491,000. We have no vacancies on board right now as well. I just want to let everyone know too, the solar project that I've been working on for the last 5 years or so, we started installation of the solar panels on Monday, which is a good thing. The solar panels there are going to cover all our electric down at the rec center, which is a good thing. Will help us step in the right direction. They're going green, and it should be completed by the end of this month. Last thing, I just want to wish everybody and their families a happy Thanksgiving.
Thanks, Bob. Same to
Again.
you.
Bobby, thank you very much.
Thank you. But like I said, it was my pleasure joining these meetings, and I continue to do so. Thank you. And wish you all the best of luck going forward, whatever you decide to do. Hope you have a lot more free time on your hands.
Certainly will. So I was just scrolling down and I kind of missed out. I don't see anything from, do we have anything from planning or zoning or the HDRB, Jeff?
Yes, we have from HDRB and zoning, and I believe Matt's on for planning.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't, while I was scrolling, I just, the next thing I have is zoning, and so I missed out. So we'll get to planning. Before we get to that, I have to thank Matt for a number of reasons. Once for being such a great friend for all these years, and I really want to thank you again. Confidence in having a chair like you. You know, I can't say enough. I just feel like the right things will be done. And you're incredibly thorough and knowledgeable about the zoning. So I mean, the village is lucky to have volunteers like yourself that have stepped up and hang in there for years on end and take some heat as you did at the beginning. And you've done a great job. So I really appreciate all the work you've done, all the work that the planning board does, all your members. I'd like to thank Dave Marion, who's no longer, you know, who moved out, but was another person that was, you know, a level-headed guy that definitely, you know, had confidence in, and Arnie Sari, also a great person to have. And so we are really lucky in this village to have such great people, you know, stepping up. And so thank you, Matt, and hopefully you stick with it, and, you know, total confidence in you. Thanks.
Thanks, Dave. And I'd say thank everybody there, actually, on the outgoing board. Actually, I mean, I think there are very few people that realize how hard the three of you work and how many hours you guys put in, you know, which is what is essentially a volunteer position as well. And the village is lucky to have you. You'll be missed. Certainly we wish, you know, the incoming board success, but you guys have really put us on a sound footing, you know, with a stable, functional board, you know, looking at budgets and planning for the future. And you've really set the stage, and it's been a pleasure working with all of you. And I count you all as friends as well. And so I wish you all the best, and we're going to miss you.
Thank you very much, Matt.
Thank you, Matt. Same to you.
Thank you.
Okay, so there's nothing from planning, Matt?
Well, we don't have any, I didn't submit a report because we don't have anything new, but if you want to discuss briefly, just that, you know, obviously there's the 40 Main Street project that will need kind of an alternative parking recommendation, because obviously, you know, as we've discussed, 40 Main Street is in the B1. The B1 has a 4-hour parking limit. So I think the board has a path forward. I think what we'll do is we'll process the application and we'll send it over to the board to basically say we'll recommend the retail section parking waivers, 7, I believe, but the 37 parking waivers that are required for the office space, we can't recommend, right? Because it would be the opposite of planning, right? Because we can't send those cars out to Main Street. So I think we have a way forward. John First will join us at the next meeting, and I think then we can send a recommendation over. Likely, you know, obviously the board has to hear the application, hear the public comment, and then, well, we've had no public comment. Close the public hearing, and then get it over to you guys. But I think we should be able to get that over to you after our next meeting.
Okay, great.
Thank you so much.
Okay, is Eric on? I know they don't have much here, or nothing was held. Is Eric with us?
Eric is not.
Okay. Well, regardless, hopefully, Eric, you'll hear this. Thank you, for stepping up. I'd like to also thank Aaron Wolf, and Donald McDonald, who also chaired. Donald has worked on zoning and is an incredibly knowledgeable person also, that been lucky to working with him still, as he's the architect for the wall on Main Street. So thank you so much, Donald, for all your work and the times we worked together. I always enjoyed it and have confidence in you. And Aaron, also, we disagreed on one project for sure, but I did appreciate you filling the void and and taking the time to chair the the zoning board. So thank you both, and thank you, Eric, for stepping up and filling another void. It's always tough. It's a tough position to fill. So thank you, Eric, and Laura also. I think we're both working together. When I had asked both if they would chair, and they both got together and talked it over, and Eric decided he would do it. So thank you both, and thank you all the board members on zoning. It's a tough board, and you have to stay with it and work. You have to do your homework. So thank you guys so much. Next we have HDRB. As always, I have to thank Al. Al's been there for quite a while, and not only in that position, but other volunteer positions in the village and town. And thank you, Al, for all the time that you've put in there. I'm glad that you were the chair. I feel comfortable with that. So again, thank you, and thank all of the HDRB members for all the time you put into your job. Much appreciated. Thank you.
We appreciate that. Thank you. We met twice in October. Pardon me. We had the public hearing for the addition on the front of 17 Parsonage, which was approved. We met and reviewed an application for the new windows and doors at 36 Kemble, which was also approved, as well as an application for a new solar array at 39 Church Street. And we met with the owners of 4 Garden Street about some new siding, but the application was incomplete. So we're going to continue talking about that later on. And for our monthly meeting in November, which will be tomorrow night, we have applications for a new window on Cherry Street and some exterior improvements on 9 Orchard Street, another solar array actually on 9 Orchard Street. We've reviewed this year loads of applications for solar panels, and the technology has come along so far. Even in the time that I've been on the board, we've really been very happy to have no reason to ever deny them, because they can be added so minimally to the structures in our village. As far as our projects are concerned, we weren't able to schedule the public hearing for the district map. In October, there was actually 2 rounds of notifications that needed to be done. One to announce the application under review, and then a second round for the public hearing. So that public hearing is going to be scheduled for tomorrow, the 10th. Jeff and I have spoken kind of intermittently to a lot of the homeowners of the affected properties, and we've had no major complaints. Secondly, we would just like to congratulate Trustee Foley and Trustee Woods and Trustee-elect Starbuck on their successful election, and we look forward to working with them and the rest of the board. I also didn't realize that this was the last meeting with the outgoing trustees, so I will add to our report to our thanks for the fruitful relationship that we had with Fran and Marie and Dave throughout the past couple of years, and we wish you luck. I thought we were going to see you again in December, but that's all.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sean.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sean.
Next is let's see, the advisory board. I can't say enough about Jen. I worked with her on the Film Society for a few years, setting up. I've worked with her on a number of other smaller projects in the village. We walk the streets, we check out the trees, the tree pits, and everything, and that has to do with the trees. She and her board have really done a great job, and totally appreciate it. And I think it's what the village is really, what separates our village from many are the trees and the landscaping and the open spaces that we have. And I cherish those, as I know Jen does. So thank you so much, Jen. Thank you. And please thank your board for me. It's been a pleasure working with you, and continued success with the trees and keeping things going and green in Cold Spring. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Dave. I also didn't know this was the last meeting. You guys need to tell us ahead of time so we can like bring champagne or something. I echo Sean's comments and everyone's comments. Fran, Marie, Dave, I think you already know how I feel about you, but thank you for all the work you've done. Most people, including myself, don't know the half of it, and we appreciate everything we've done. And I hope you can relax now and like just take a break or do something fun. And to the incoming new board members and Mayor-elect Foley, like congratulations, and we look forward to working with you. That's it, I guess, for formalities. Thanks, Dave. I do have a little bit of a report. It's not like a great tree board report today, but we're not doing our normal fall planting in part because of the overload that the highway department is experiencing right now. We rely on them to do so much amazing work, and now is not the time to rely on them. So they have other obvious priorities. So we're gonna just push our normal fall planting to the spring, which is fine. We just usually like to plant in the fall because we don't have to water as much. It's a lot less work. But we will still get the planned trees in the ground in the spring. That's one update. Another update is Boscobel has reached out to the village through our board about a possible tree initiative that they're putting on, like a community tree initiative. And I will have more details for you once we get a formal invitation, but they've asked if the village through the tree board would be interested to basically help with outreach and education, like if they had a talk, a community, if they sponsored a talk, would some of our board members come, or our arborist maybe would come to participate in the talk. And I will let you know when they have some plans, and your board can approve or deny us cooperating with them, but it sounds like a great idea that they have. I met in October with Mayor Morandi to discuss 3 trees on Main Street that were going to be impacted by the wall rebuilding project that's happening now, which is very exciting and sort of is going to look amazing, I think. They look like they're working very hard. And we agreed or recommended the removal of 3 trees in the row that were going to be impacted by the excavation, severely impacted by the excavation that had to happen for the wall. It was an easy conversation because 2 of those 3 trees were completely, their trunks have been buried by the erosion. I don't know whatever happened when the wall fell down, and we're going to be eventually dying a slow death unless we did something, i.e. put the wall back. So it was kind of like 6 of one, half dozen of the other. So the 2 lindens, which were 12-inch caliper trees, which were sad to lose, were kind of unavoidable. And Dave made that clear also, that the excavating work was going to really, really do a number on them. And the other 2 was just a very small maple. And we recommended that those trees be replaced 2 to 1 by maybe some smaller trees that would do actually better on the site, because it's a very shady site. There are lots of trees right above it. So this would be an opportunity to plant a small row of maybe more appropriate trees for the site. Those details are to be worked out, obviously. But the board met and discussed my discussion with Dave, and we're in agreement that those trees needed to be removed. And finally, the last thing in our report is we continue to have trouble on village property. It's like the name of a movie. Trouble on village property adjacent to 230 Main Street, which is a house that's currently for sale now. for the last few years, as I said in my report, I've been trying just behind the scenes in like a normal person way to just ask the homeowners to stop cutting village property trees. They or their landscapers continue to make into shrubs for trees that were meant to be, 15 feet tall, small flowering trees for some reason. I don't know why. They've also removed the tree tags from the trees and had to knock on their door and ask them to give them back to me and stuff like that. It's just annoying and I'm tired of it. And I have noted in my report that these trees are being damaged by an adjacent resident, and I'd ask the village board to consider bringing the code enforcement officer in and asking them to please comply with village law and stop pruning these trees. As a background, Dave, I think you asked me in an email, all the trees that I'm talking about are 100% village trees. They're 100% on village property, and they were planted as part of an agreement with the homeowners when they asked us to remove 42 small trees that were in a row on that property after they moved in. And in exchange for removing them, we replaced them with all of these trees that we planted. And that satisfied all the neighbors who were actually very mad about removing the original trees. So this is an issue that I think would set a bad precedent if the village didn't at least, do something about it. And hopefully, just let the new homeowners, if there is a new homeowner, hopefully we can explain to them the situation and its village property. So that's one part of it. And the second part is that I don't know if the village is aware, but there's uplighting installed on village property on 3 of the trees in that row. So we need to figure out how to ask whoever controls that uplighting to change the color of the light bulb or to put a timer, because our arborist has noted that this is not good for the long-term health of those trees. But since the village didn't install that lighting, I don't know who to ask. And I'm just asking the board to let me know how I should go about that, since I'm just a volunteer and not privy to how I'm supposed to ask them to change something that's on village property. And that's the last of my report. There's a couple things that aren't in there I wanted to mention. One was we need to think about, our board is thinking about or going to put some winter stakes on the tree pit guards on Main Street to try to avoid what happened last winter with the snow removal. It was sort of careless snow removal last winter that did $5,000 worth of damage to all of the tree guards, which I believe the insurance covered and we haven't had repaired yet. So I need to get on that. But we're gonna mark all of them, if it's okay with you guys, with snow stakes, just zip tie this year. And we need to figure out what to do with the new tree. Dave, this is a question for you, planted in front of Sunoco on the corner. It needs likewise some kind of snow protection because the state snow plows, everybody just piles up their snow there. So I wanted to ask, not for discussion at this meeting, but just as a point, some people might want to email me later how we should protect that tree. And that might be a question for Bugsy, but since he's on leave right now, I didn't want to bother him with it. And that's it. So.
Okay. I'll talk to Charlotte tomorrow and have her address the issue at 2:30. As far as the uplighting goes, if it's on our property, they should remove it as far as I'm concerned, but I'll have her address that also.
Okay, thank you.
Jen, thank you so much for all the work you do.
Thanks, you guys. I'll miss you. Take care.
We'll be here, walking around, walking around.
Okay, I think that does it for our boards. We already did Town of Phillipstown Fire Company.
Okay, so in the month of October, there were 10 calls, 4 activated fire alarms, 1 EMS assist, 3 motor vehicle accidents, 1 marine incident, and 1 breakneck incident. The marine incident was a boat running out of gas after dark. A sea tow was called to tow the boat and to bring gas to fill the tank, but the fire company responded in case. It was a mutual aid because Garrison's boat is out of the water. So Cold Spring was closer to get to Garrison's jurisdiction, but Cold Spring responded because our boat was still in the water. And the breakneck incident was a broken ankle on breakneck. The annual hose testing was completed and the annual self-contained breathing apparatus testing was completed. And that's it.
Okay, update on the boiler. The new boiler should be in by hopefully up and running this week, the end of this week. The old one's been removed, new one's sitting there. It's just a matter of making all the connections and installing the thermostats. So hopefully by the end of the week, there'll be a new energy efficient boiler taking care of the fire department building. So I just wanted to give you an update on that. Next, we have the building department. I'd like to thank Charlotte. She usually is not on our Zoom, but the building department, as you know, has gone through a number of changes and back and forth. And I think Charlotte has been a great hire. And I think she's working out well. There's always a few little hurdles you have to go over, or kinks to work out. But I think she's done a pretty good job, and I think hopefully she'll stay with us, and we can have some continuity there, and have somebody that we can rely on, and form a relationship with, and get the work done. So thank you, Charlotte, for joining. I hope you are enjoying it, and will stick with us and keep up a good job. Thank you. The report for month of October, new building permits 14, building permits issued 12, operating permits issued 1, dumpster permits 1, COs issued 4, record searches completed 3, complaints received 1, inspections completed 15, no fire inspections. Referrals generated, HDRB 5, none for ZBA or planning. Fees, application and permit fees collected, $1,554.50. Record search fees collected, $225 for a total of $1,779.50. Of note, 15 Main Street is completed. CO is issued. Short-term rental applications have been received. Inspections are scheduled. Regarding the short-term rental applications, we only received 4. So there's a number, as we know, of people that did not want to apply. And I guess we'll see how that's dealt with in the coming year. The Justice Court, Village of Cold Spring. I like to thank Tom and Kathy for all the work they do. They just keep going on and on back there, and that's good. Thank you, Tom. Congratulations for winning another election, and continued success. So thank you. I don't really have too much, don't mix up too much with Kathy or Tom, but do see them on occasion, and it's always nice to see Kathy in the office. So thank you guys. Appreciate all the work you do. Justice Court, we have fines, forfeited bails and civil penalties, $4,450. Parking tickets, $5,155. Civil fees, $280. Mandatory state surcharges, $2,501, for a total of $12,386. Thank you. Report from the mayor and the board. I'll go first and quickly, as Jen pointed out, the wall, if anyone hasn't gone up Main Street, is underway. They've leveled off we've had the trees removed. Phillipstown tree moved the trees that were in the way for the project. They've leveled off the land and have cleaned up all of the dirt that had just fallen there or had been put there to stop further erosion, and have a stone base down, and they started working on the wall. Hopefully they'll have a section done, and Donald and I will take a look at that and approve so that they can continue on. They're hopefully going to be done in, according to their schedule, 5 weeks. We've added a few sections because one of the trees was bulging out a section of wall we hadn't anticipated. So there'll be a change order for some extra lengths of wall, and I believe they'll be submitting their first request for payment this coming week. And let's see, the RFP went out for the garbage for refuse and recyclable services. Just so no one's panicking, we sent out an RFP so that we would see if there were interested companies that would take over the service and what those costs would be. We are not locked into anything. What we are trying to find out is how much it would actually cost and compare that to what we are spending and what the pros and cons of that would be. So the RFP was sent out and will be, it's on the government site now. It'll be in the paper of record this week, and the due date for the RFPs is November 19th. So hopefully at least have numbers that we can work with, or the next administration can work with. That's all that I have. Fran, anything?
No, I just wanted to say that Maria and I have pretty much completed all the annotating for the code chapters that are ready to go. Those will be going out to Albany probably by next week. So all the chapters that are complete will be ready to go. Other than that, I just wanted to thank everyone. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention also in the thanking Steve Veloto and Lynn Miller, who were also a pleasure to work with. And thank you all, and I'm looking forward to retiring again. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for reminding me. I wrote their names down and forgot them. So Steve and Lynn, it really was a pleasure, to have you guys on board. And I appreciate Steve, especially your friendship over the last few months. Thank you so much. Deputy Mayor.
Yo,
No, where are you?
I'm here. Oh,
You're sinking below. We don't even see a hairline.
so
Just
I'd like to second Fran's sentiments. It's been a great ride. It's been a lot of fun. We've learned so much. We got so much accomplished. We have such respect for the people that we work with. It's just been an incredible experience. I'm very, very thankful.
Thank you.
Thanks, Murray.
Trustee Foley, you're muted if you want to say something. Or if you have anything to add.
It's a night of thanks. The three of you did come in at a time that was really, really dark in the village, and you did organize and professionalize and set a really solid foundation. And everyone in the village owes you a great debt of gratitude. I am grateful to you. Thank you.
Thanks, Kathleen.
Thank you.
Trustee Woods.
Well, I did not have the pleasure or luxury of spending all that much time with you guys, but I did definitely learn a lot, and I appreciate your allowing me to ask questions, a lot of questions at times, and answering them thoughtfully and helping to guide me through this process. So I appreciate that. You guys have done amazing work. We have big shoes to fill, and appreciate all the time that you spent for the village.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tweeps, and Kathleen, good luck to both of you.
Thank you, Fran.
Okay,
Same here.
I guess that goes to next to the request for the Manure Lighting. Hi, Jeff. As we have done in previous years, we'd like to have a Manure Lighting in Cold Spring on November 30th at 5 p.m. I will get a certificate of insurance as done in the past. This is a public event and everyone is invited. Please extend invitation to the town board, village board. And previous years, we had around 15 people. Thank you. So in previous years, they hold this at the foot of Main Street and at the area next to the visitor center. I believe we let them tap into our electric. They have the menorah there, and just have a small ceremony or celebration. So I'll make a motion to approve the request.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Next is update on C Street. Marie, would you like to handle this one?
Sure. C Street is considering extending their season, which is currently scheduled to end on November 14th. they are looking at 5 Saturdays after November 14th, ending on December 18th. They have not yet begun to do any marketing. They are still investigating whether or not they can find an alternate docking site for the day. So I'm waiting to hear back from them.
Okay,
An alternate to Cold, excuse me, an alternate to Cold Spring, do you mean?
Yes, which they have now.
they can dock at West Point sometimes, and they have been. But you know, from our schedule this year, there was 2 sections, one where they were docking
right
full day, and others where they were dropping off and docking at West Point. So
right,
that's one option that they have.
Just a question on my end. If they do go forward, are we gonna also add in the extra walking tour on the weekend?
I have that in the estimate, Larry.
Okay, thank you, Marie. Appreciate it.
There's one caveat on their arrivals. Because we might encounter inclement weather, which might provide, which might become a safety hazard for the crew and the passengers. They have proposed that if there is a weather event early in the week, that they will have someone come to, they will hire someone to come to Cold Spring to clear the ramp and the dock, such that there is no safety hazard for when the boat arrives. If, however, there is a weather event closer to the Saturday, they will cancel the cruise. So we'll be, and they understand they will be responsible for notifying us either way.
There was one point I was on this weekend, and it was a little bit rough on Saturday when they put out the dock for the people to walk off. It's a very tight area where the one bench is. That's right there where they actually extend the I guess you would call it the walking plank.
The ramp, yeah.
Ramp. If that bench can somehow be, I don't know how it's fastened into the ground. If that bench can be removed, if the weather gets a little bit more rougher with the waves, that may move slightly, even though they tie it off, but it would just seem to be a very tight fit if we're going into the month of December.
Okay, I'll talk to them about that.
I know we brought up the restrooms last week. I'm not for keeping the restrooms that we have any longer than we've got it scheduled. I don't think they'll see much use in December. People are going in there. There won't be a hand wash for them, and also just having a cold plastic seat or environment. I just don't see people going in there, and I don't think we should continue the rental any longer than, or extend it farther than we have right now. Regards with the visitor center on Main Street, one door is going to have to be locked soon. I've asked Larry if he could ask his guys not to open it because it's just a plywood door and it just swings open. There's no closer on it. We don't have the new door in yet. I don't know when it's going to arrive. So we can't have a door heating an area with a door that's just, left open, most of the day, or if somebody used it in the morning, I mean, it'll just stay open the whole time. It just, gravity pulls it open. And that in the one area. So we will have the one, it will be heated. Both will be heated till the end of December. So I brought that up last week just as a consideration. And I did bring up that, maybe the merchants would be willing to open up their bathrooms. That was just a suggestion. It's just, I don't think that would decide on whether or not they would come or not. We've dealt with it before when we had no bathrooms at all. So it's up for discussion if there's any on that, or else we can wait to see what they come back with. Marie, maybe they won't even be, maybe they won't even fill the ships, or decide that they don't even want to do it. So,
well, since this is our last meeting for 2 weeks, and their last date is November 14th, I'd like to get a decision from the board to either permit or prohibit the 5 additional Saturdays.
Okay, that makes sense.
Are we talking about the number, the 400 number again on Saturdays?
Yes, it would be a maximum of 400.
Mhm.
I-
Go ahead, Fran.
I'd like to say yes. I'd like to give it a try. I think, and I'm not a merchant, so I don't know, but I think it would be really helpful for the merchants if they had more people shopping just before the holidays. In terms of restrooms, we do have the one, if people eat, the restaurants have restrooms, and the boat announces that people can use the restrooms on the boat. But I think for the sake of the merchants on Main Street, I'd like to give it a shot. It's 5 weekends, 5 Saturdays. It may be beneficial to them, or we might find out that next year it's not worth the effort. So I would say yes.
Trustee Woods?
Did they tell you when they were going to give additional information? Do we have an estimate of when that would be for the docking situation?
The restrooms?
No, for the docking situation.
So what I gave them, Tweets, is 2 estimates. One was for all day docking and one was for to arrive, disembark, depart, arrive, embark, depart. So they have 2 different prices for either of the 2. So they could choose either of them.
Okay.
I don't know how they're going to determine customer demand.
Maria, a question. I'm sorry, Tweeps, I didn't mean to
No,
interrupt
no,
you.
go ahead.
If the boat stays here, are the people who come in allowed to go back on the boat to use the restrooms?
I believe that the boats are available for use while they're here. I don't believe, Larry, you can correct me on this. I don't think they remove the ramp. I think they leave the ramp in place.
The ramp, when they are stationed here, the ramp does stay in place, but the last few weekends, as this one was, I think they went over to West Point and docked over there, and they removed the ramp as soon as everybody disembarked.
So when they stay here, the ramp is in place so people can use the restrooms on the boat. They are, part of the contract is that they make an announcement as they're coming up the river that there are limited public restroom facilities in the village of Cold Spring, and that passengers or guests should avail themselves of the facilities on the vessel before docking in the village.
Thank you.
My experience on the weekends that Tweeps and I dealt with locking and unlocking the porta-johns for the boat was that there were lines formed both at the porta-johns and on Lower Main Street as soon as people got off the boats. So I am definitely in favor of the boats coming. I think it's a much needed boost to commerce right heading into the holidays. I would not be in favor of getting rid of all of the porta-johns just because we don't know what the numbers are going to be. I mean, it's kind of hard to imagine on a cold Saturday, 400 people getting onto a boat and coming north, but the weekends they've been mild. So you could have a full boat. And I think in that case, it would not be responsible to get rid of all of the porta-johns. I know that the hand washing stations, Dave had a concern. I think it was Dave's concern about the hand washing stations freezing. There are units, sorry?
So what happens with the portable toilet people is they remove all portable toilets that have hand washing stations when the company determine that the weather is getting too cold, and then they replace them with units that do not have hand washing capability.
But I imagine that we could request hand sanitizing stations either inside them or alongside an alcohol-based hand sanitizer like we had at Community Day.
There's no room in the unit for a hand sanitizing or hand washing station. The units are the bare bones units. The hand washing stations that we had for Community Day were water-based. And
oh, that's right. We had the sink. We had the sink at Community Day, but there has been I think it was here, or maybe I'm having a memory from another location, hand sanitizer in the unit, inside the unit. I just don't think it would be responsible without knowing what the numbers are to get rid of all of those porta-johns. I think that's a great idea to try, as Fran pointed out, a trial with the boats coming into December to see what kind of foot traffic and commercial traffic that brings, but I would not be in favor of leaving just one public restroom in place.
Thank you.
Oh, I would disagree, and I'd vote to not. I mean, I don't think it's makes sense to have the porta johns there. I just don't think they'll be used that much. We've had the boats come in when we've had no bathrooms. That wasn't ideal for sure. We do have one, and it is going to be cold. It will be December, unless, you know, could be a little freaky and maybe not. But I just don't see people, you know, people going in them and using them, and I don't think they should be there. Anyone else have ideas, thoughts on the bathrooms?
I'm sorry, Tweets, I interrupted you, so I apologize.
No, that was a good opportunity because my child actually had to use the potty. So I personally feel like the boats are great. And I agree that the additional commerce for the village, for the business owners, is probably going to be quite welcome. I disagree that we should not have more facilities open in terms of bathrooms. I think having other options for people to use other facilities rather than people's businesses is probably the right thing to do. So I would argue that we should keep at least one or two of the porta-johns that are currently there, in addition to the ones that we already have, or the bathrooms, I should say.
So we can't keep the restrooms that we currently have.
Can we do a contract with another company?
The problem is that the restrooms that we have a water reservoir.
I understand that. Is there
And
any
it's
company that has porta-johns that have the sanitizing stations?
I have no idea whether or not. So sanitizing state. So I'm not sure what you're asking for. You're asking for sanitizer within the porta-johns?
I'm asking for a bathroom that's outside that people can use, as well as other bathrooms. If someone goes to a restaurant, that's one thing. I think there's other stores that might not appreciate having people ask them to use the bathroom. I think people will probably need to use the bathroom. If we have the option of providing another bathroom, I think we should. I think that's my, as clear as I can get on that. So if there's another company that provides ones that are for outdoor use in inclement weather or colder weather, then maybe we should look into that. Or maybe we should ask C-Strict if they have some ideas about that.
I would be curious to know how many people come in at 10:45 and leave at like 3:30 and don't have a meal. And so I would venture to say most of these people are somewhere along the line stopping at a restaurant or a pizza place or someplace, all of which have bathrooms.
Why would we make a decision not to be prepared if we're bringing an additional 400 people into the village? Why would we make that choice?
Because the restrooms, because it's freezing cold and there's no heat in there. And it's just, I mean, it's not a comfortable situation. I don't know how many people would.
It's not. It's preferable to having nowhere to relieve yourself.
Or whether or not the boat decides to stay. And I don't know what makes them have that decision.
So, given that we have no control over that variable, and the one variable we do have control over is providing a porta-john, that to me would be preferable, to have some place that is not a single toilet at the bottom of Main Street, or hoping that folks go into restaurants and use the bathroom.
Okay, so
ideally, that would be an ideal situation, but 400 people at one time is a lot. And if you've been at the bottom when the boat, if you've been at Lower Main Street when the boat comes in, you see the line.
I've never experienced it. Okay, so I think we've made our points. We can go around and around if we have in the past. We won't. I think that we're in agreement that the boat should be allowed to come in with 400 max, unless someone would like to suggest a lower number. So that's 400 people. Is that what I'm hearing? Well,
Yes,
Trustee Early, are you for allowing the boat to come in?
Oh, yes, sorry, yes.
Trustee Foley?
I'm fine with the boat coming in. I'm not okay with removing the bathrooms.
I know I hadn't asked that yet. And Trustee Woods, are you fine with the boat coming in?
I'm fine with the boat coming in.
Okay. Now the second is whether or not we should extend the rental of the porta johns. I am not for it. Trustee Foley,
I am for extending the bathrooms.
Trustee Woods.
I am for extending the bathrooms.
Okay.
Marie, I'm sorry, first question. The cost of the porta johns goes back to the C Street, is that correct?
Yes, that was the estimates that I provided them did not include portable toilets.
Okay, so if we
And
do
I-
bring portable toilets,
And I told them that was the case.
But our last contract with them for this current set of weeks did include the porta johns. Yes.
Yes. Mhm.
So we are you have
Okay, we're out
proactively
of
told
water.
them.
We're out of water once again.
I'm sorry.
Can we get
I'm
back?
sorry, Dave.
I'm trying to be clear what we're voting on, Mayor Morandi.
Well,
Okay,
Well, I think it
I'm
was very
sorry.
clear. Do we want to have porta johns or not? And you said that you did want to have them. So
okay, and I
Here-
jumped in with a question.
asking, and then I asked Trustee Woods, and she said, yes, I do. I feel that we should extend it. And now I'm asking Trustee Early, would you like
It
to
was me.
extend it, the use of the porta johns?
We cannot extend the current toilets. The company will, sorry,
Yes, but the company's going to switch them out if we
Yes.
want to extend it. Yes.
yes.
So are you
What
for
they-
that?
What they'll do is they'll replace them with a standard construction toilets.
Right, without the water station.
Yep.
Okay. So are you for the extending that?
I really don't care. I'm sorry. It seems to me that when I am out and about and need a facility, the presence or absence of a washing station is not something that I care about because I carry my own hand sanitizer. So I don't think having a washing station is important.
Okay, I don't either, but do you feel like having the porta johns there without one, should we include that?
No. Okay, my answer is no.
All
Trust-
right, I'm gonna go with yes. I think that we should put them in there.
Okay, and how many would you like to put there? Right now, there's 4.
I would think 2.
Is everyone fine with 2?
At a minimum, yeah.
What did I hear? I'm sorry.
I said at a minimum because we don't know what the numbers are going to be on the boat.
Well, plan
Well,
for
we
that.
have to let them know. So, that's the whole thing. We have to, let people know what we're going to be doing unless you don't want to vote on this
So
tonight.
you asked if you asked if 2 was acceptable. I'm saying I think 2 is the minimum. I'm answering your question.
Okay.
No, that's not really an answer, but
Yes,
okay.
Dave. Yes, Dave, 2.
Okay, thank you. And Trustee Woods, are you fine with 2?
Am I on mute? No. Yeah, I'm okay. I mean, I agree, it's minimum, but we don't know the numbers, so hopefully 2 will be plenty.
Okay, so Marie, if you can contact them and well, when the time, if it comes, if you could contact them
Yep.
after we hear from C Street, that'd be great.
Will do.
Okay. Next we have approval of bills.
I'd like to make a motion to approve batch number 6245 in the amount of $161,735.25.
I'll second that. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Next, approval of minutes, October 14th, 2021. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Second. Marie's got it.
Marie has it. Any discussion? All in fa- all in
Aye.
favor?
Aye.
Aye. And lastly, for approval of minutes of October 19, 2021, I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Second from Fran. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, before we get into public comment, I've thanked almost everyone, but not the most important people. I just want to thank Marie and Fran for making my ride as easy as possible and having somebody that that's there like 24/7 pretty much. I value your friendship more than anything. The village has no idea, absolutely no idea how much time and effort is going into everything you guys have done. And like I said, you've really, without you, I definitely would be, lacking for sure. You guys really have been such an incredible support, and all of our success is really due to you guys and us working together. So thank you so much. I'll never be able to thank you enough. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you so
Dave.
much, Dave. Thank you. Thank you, Marie.
And thank you, Fran.
Okay, so we'll wrap this up with public comments if we have any. Anything, Jeff?
Mike Turton.
Never been able to find the button to put my hand up properly. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
So a couple of questions about the boat club lease. Is the lease now available to the public and specifically to me to review?
I believe it is, Jeff.
Yes, Mike, just send me an email and I'll send it to you.
Okay. And then
As with, also, that goes for anybody who wants to view it. As with any contract that the village has, just send me an email or put in a FOIL request and we'll gladly provide it.
Then just a couple other questions. I was copied on that lengthy letter, 3.5, 4-page letter from a number of residents in the lower village about the boat club lease, not the details of the lease so much per se as the process. I'm wondering why that, I got that about a month ago. I'm wondering why that did not appear as correspondence, since it wouldn't have really affected your negotiations about the lease.
It's correspondence last week?
Oh, I got the letter about a month ago. It was a letter from Stefan and I think
Right.
a number of other residents in the lower village about the boat club lease. He said it was acknowledged by the clerk and it went to the mayor and all trustees. So I'm just wondering, it's a significant issue. So I'm wondering why it didn't appear in correspondence.
The letter was addressed this past Thursday's meeting.
No, this was like a month ago.
Yes, but the letter itself was addressed this past Thursday.
Okay, that's odd. And then my final question is, has there ever been a public meeting or public hearing on the village lease to the boat club in the history of the boat club?
Not to my recollection, or I don't know. I doubt it. I don't think so. And usually it was there was no cost, but I guess some people would be concerned about there not being a fee for the rent, the lease. So, but I don't think there was. I don't have an answer for that though.
Okay, thank you.
And public hearings, I mean, we're going to be looking into this obviously, but we contacted our attorney and our attorney has advised us that we did not have to go to a public hearing for this. We asked them before that. Also, I've been involved with the school board. I've been involved with the planning, with town, and I've gone through a number of negotiations, and every one of them is not held to public scrutiny until after it's done. I mean, both negotiating teams have attorneys. Both of them are done in executive session. And this was for teachers' agreements. This is for the town's highway department. And so you know, this is the way negotiations are done from everything that I understand. You know, negotiating teams go in there, people that are elected to, you know, do the work of the people, and they should have trust in them. And, you know, and that's how it works. That's democracy at its best, I guess. If you're having, you know, if people are elected, the people are elected to do your work, and you're doing it, and then you're negotiating, and you're negotiating for the village. And that's what we did. And I'm not sure if these people will have a response after they see the lease. A lot of the questions they brought up and were concerned with were addressed in the lease. So I'll be interested to see after they've read the lease what their thoughts are on it. I think it's a very good lease. I think it follows the comp plan's recommendations, and I think it keeps the boat club there. And we also are, you know, we're bringing in revenue for the village.
Okay, thank you.
Karen Maskey.
Hi,
State your name and address. I don't see you up yet.
sorry. Hi, Karen Mashke. I was at the meeting last week in which that 4-page letter was read. When will that actually appear on the record as correspondence?
It'll be part of the minutes.
Great, thank you.
Anyone else, Jeff?
No one else. Just brief, Thursday is Veterans Day. The village offices, highway, water department, everything's closed on Thursday.
Okay. Good
And
to
there
know.
is a ceremony at the Veterans Memorial at 11:11.
Was that a question or a?
No,
Yeah, is that the same, is that
At
at
St.
St.
Mary's,
Mary's?
on St. Mary's lawn, there is a ceremony with the veterans at 11:11 on Thursday.
It's a very brief ceremony, but they believe they read out the names of anyone who passed away this year.
Okay. That said, thank you, everyone. It's been a pleasure. And we have some workshops left, so we're not going anywhere for another 3 or 4 weeks. So with that, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good night, all. Thank you.
Good night.
Right.